Brittany with 4B Farm. I am finally back in the garden again. We've had, I feel like 2 straight weeks full of rain, so we are very soggy, but everything in the garden is exploding, and I wanted to show you how everything is looking so far. Okay, so we are very soggy in the garden, but I wanted to show y'all. So this is where we start off. This is all of our tomatoes in both of these beds, and they are growing so tall, and this is just in a matter of a few weeks. We have lots of blooms. Sorry, my kids are swimming. They're just a bunch of giggle boxes, but these are all of our tomatoes, and they're doing really well. They're all indeterminate, so I've been pruning them pretty heavily so we can just get those main leaders, like you can see here, all the way from the bottom. It goes up pretty much all the way to the top. Right here, it does split. So I could have cut it right there. So these will split into 2. So I will just tie those up to the cattle panel, and it will be just fine. It will have lots of tomatoes. We already have several tomatoes. I'm super excited. I just cannot wait for my first fresh tomato. It's like just kicks off summer for us. But I did want to show y'all, so in the middle here, last year I did this. I planted all marigolds, and you can see they are just growing wild in there. I mean, they're so big. But I'm having a problem. There are no flowers at all. I don't know. I have researched it, and it said it could be sun. It could be the temperature's not warm enough, but they get plenty of sun all day long. We've had pretty warm weather. We have had a lot of rain, like I said. So I'm not real sure what to do about that. So I'm trying to figure it out, because the tomatoes are blooming. They are putting on blooms. I have seen a few bees in my garden, but not a whole lot. But going from these 2 tomato and pepper beds, we go over here. So here is my cucumbers and zucchini and squash, and they have tons of blooms on them, as you can see. But we are having a problem over here also with our squash. We do have tons of blooms, but I'm assuming we don't have a whole lot of pollinators, because we're not getting very many fruits. And if we do get fruits, they have a bunch of the bottom rot. Blossom end rot, I believe, or end rot blossom. They're just rotting. So I've been pulling them off, and I've been trying to, that's the biggest squash we have. And so we haven't gotten any actual fruit off of any of these. So it's a little concerning, because the plants are massive, as you can see. Put my hand out there. They're huge, but we're not getting any fruit. And so hopefully we can figure out something. Oh no, my chickens are trying to get in. Shut the gate real fast. Sorry, girls. All right. But I also wanted to show you my trellis that I had put up. So we had got the string and crisscrossed it and everything, and it is growing so well. I'm super excited about it. Now, so this is a loofah gourd plant. So when it actually starts producing the gourds, I don't know how well this is going to hold up, so we will just have to see. But for now, the vines are doing well on it. It's definitely growing up, and then the cucumbers are growing up it also. So these are our green beans, and they're doing fairly well. They're definitely growing, but we do have some aphids. I mean, this is the first year I've actually dealt with aphids this bad. I mean, some of these leaves are just completely covered, if you can see that. I mean, they're all in there. And so what I've been doing is I've been coming out around when the sun goes down, so it's not shining, probably around 7:30 or 8, and squirting it with a mixture of Dawn soap, baking soda, and water. trying to dry the aphids out and kill them. But it's been raining so much, it hasn't really helped a whole lot. So I'm also looking for a solution for that also. So I do have quite a bit of problems in the garden this year. I mean, this is my third season of growing. And maybe I just got lucky the first two seasons, I don't know. But the weather has been a lot more difficult to deal with this year. We've had a lot more rainy weather with storms and really fast winds. So I've been defeating a lot of different things this year. So I'm just gonna keep trying and keep working at it. So like I said, I've been dealing with a lot more this year than I have in past, but it is a good opportunity to learn because I've never dealt with them before, and I'm sure I'll be dealing with them more in the future, especially the aphids. And they haven't been really messing with my tomatoes. I do come out here as often as I can when it's not raining to check pretty much each leaf, each stem. I flip over and try to look for aphids and make sure they're not getting attacked. So I showed you my tomatoes, and the peppers and the beans are doing really well other than the pest problems. And I want to show you my other two lower beds over here and give you an update on the corn plot. Okay, so over here we have our two other raised beds. Now, what I did, you can see these need to be weeded really bad. I mean, there's that Bermuda grass is everywhere, and it's just really hard to deal with. I did put layers of cardboard under these beds, and so it's helping a little bit. You can kind of see in the middle it's a little better, but around the edges, I mean, it is just taking over. And I try to come out here and pull that, but like I said, it's been raining, I feel like 4 or 5 days in a row. So these are the last tomatoes that I've planted. So with my tomatoes, when I started them from seeds, I started several at one time. I waited a week or two, I started more, and then this is the third time I planted my tomatoes. So these are the youngest tomatoes that I have. So they're not super tall just yet. As you can see, they are falling over, and I need to get a trellis system out here really bad. This pepper plant right here did snap in half. I went ahead and just planted it. I don't know if it will come back or not, but I thought it's worth a try. I mean, I have tons of pepper plants, so I'm not gonna lose much from them, but it would be nice if I could keep it alive. But these are also doing really well. I haven't had very much pest damage, and this is how I come out here and check for aphids. This is a whole vine. I just put my hand, I gently turn it over, and I can quickly look at them pretty well, and I don't see any on those, but that's how I do check to see if we have any aphids or any bugs. And also you can look at the foliage and just see if anything has been eating on them, which I don't see very much damage on these, which looks great. But we do typically have problems with hornworms, and the hornworms, you can definitely tell where they're eating. They also leave some surprises left behind, so you can see if there are a bunch of droppings on your plants, you can tell a hornworm's in there. And those are a little more harder to see because they are camouflaged so well. But luckily we don't have any hornworms just yet, but they will definitely be here because summer comes, they love tomatoes. I also wanted to show you my eggplants. So they are not looking great. So see all these little holes? That is from a flea beetle. And they are very hard to keep away because they just, oh look, you can see one right there. So they do jump like fleas. That's where they get their name from. So that's why they're so hard to get and kill, because sometimes I'm just looking the leaves over and they just jump right off. I do try to spray some soapy water on there to help also, but with all the rain, especially this deep purple is so pretty. They're definitely catching back up. This one has a lot more leaves, And I don't think these are gonna make it, but we're just gonna leave them. Oh, there's a bee. Yay, bee. Get all the pollen, you see it? All the pollen and pollinate all the flowers, please. But as you can see, we have tons of work to be done in the garden. Our walkways are just flooded everywhere, and that brings us to the corn plot. So good news, bad news. So we have dug a trench. You can't really see right here, but it goes all the way up, all the way. I mean, it's a long trench because it is lower back here and it does flood quite often. So we're trying to figure out a more sustainable way to deal with all the water. But we did not know that it runs right here and then just completely floods the whole corn plot. I knew it held water. I did not know it held this much water. So we're definitely gonna have to do some kind of drainage system, and we'll figure that out. But I thought all of the corn had washed away. Most of it did, but we do have several rows still. And I think I counted about 40 plants that survived. So once it does start drying out here, I am gonna come back and till it and make rows that got washed away, and I'm just gonna keep planting. They might be a little behind, but they'll grow nonetheless, and I think it'll be just fine. They'll be 2 or 3 weeks behind, but that just means we'll have corn later in the season. So no big deal, we'll just replant it, and hopefully these will all grow and we can figure out the drainage system pretty soon. And we'll just keep taking it one step at a time. Like I said, this is my 3rd season, I believe, growing, and so we're still learning. But my favorite way to learn is just by doing. And if I don't know how to do it, I'll just keep doing it until I get it right, and that's what we're gonna keep on chugging along with. So I was pretty sad when I saw it all flooded back here, but I was so excited to come back a few days later once it had kind of drained off and see that some corn still, I mean, we got 40 plants that came up, so that's pretty exciting for me because I had never been successful really at growing corn, so I'm still excited about it. Just keep trying. I encourage you to just keep pushing forward. This is another beautiful plant. This are my tomatillos. So many blooms. I mean, it's loaded with blooms. Not one tomatillo, none. I don't know, I don't see any husk forming or anything, but it's full of blooms, and I haven't really been able to find very much information about that. So hopefully I can figure that out because I really wanted some salsa verde this year or some pickled green tomatoes. But keep growing, guys. It's just learning and learning one season after another. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows over here. We got some struggles going, and you will too, and that's okay. I just don't want y'all to give up because it's so worth it once you finally get any fruits or vegetables from your labor of love. And I really feel like that God gave us all these beautiful plants to feed our bodies, and I am just so excited to get to be a part of watching these plants grow and getting to take care of them the best I can and getting to nourish my family with healthy foods that will keep their bodies healthy and strong. So eating healthy foods is very important to my family. My husband is a type 1 diabetic, so we try really hard to make healthy choices for him, but also our son was born with a congenital heart defect. So we really strive to teach them how important it is to eat and to know where their food came from and how it was raised and how it was taken care of, because you know, you can eat vegetables all day long, but if it is grown with really heavy fertilizers and you know, you don't know where it was grown or what kind of conditions, it can be just as damaging as eating something unhealthy all the time. So we really try to focus on as organic as possible. And that doesn't mean you cannot use fertilizer. Not all fertilizer is bad, that's not what I'm saying. But it's just important for us as a family to know where our food came from and to help install those values into our children. And so I really want to encourage you to try it and grow as best as you can, and just keep learning every year, because like I said, I've only been doing this for a little bit and I'm still learning so much, and I still got a long ways to go. But hopefully with my channel I can learn from y'all, and maybe you can learn something from me, and we can help each other grow together and make healthier choices for our bodies and our families. So I just want to leave on that note, and happy gardening, and you can do this. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to our channel. And that's about all I have. So I guess we'll catch you on the next one.